On today's episode, I'm going to be grading the quarterback prospects for the 2025 NFL draft class from championship weekend in college football, and why Quinn Ewers, quarterback for Texas, should not declare for the 2025 NFL draft, should return to school and transfer out. I'll talk about this and more coming up next.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Locked On family? Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast. Cover your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. You can find and follow me on X at DP_NFL. I'm a senior draft analyst, and thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and everyday shot for being our everydayers. Guys, listen, I am Solo Dola, and we are grading the quarterback performances from championship weekend in college football. Quinn Ewers, Dylan Gabriel, Carson Beck for the time that he played, Drew Aller, you name it, we're going to talk about it, guys. We got our staple for Monday, money makers and bag fumblers, and then we have the game ball. Coach DP is going to hand out the game ball to maybe two lucky prospects for how they were able to play. But guys, before we can get into any and all of that, today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code all lowercase LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. Grading the quarterback prospects. And guys, championship weekend, there were a couple games, during this entire weekend from Friday all the way through Saturday night that didn't have 2025 quarterback prospects to talk about. So we got to jump right to Texas versus Georgia and Quinn Ewers. Let's start there, guys. Let's start there. Quinn Ewers in this game was 27 of 46, 358 yards passing, one passing touchdown, two interceptions. Now, the first, I'll say this for his grade, I'm gonna be honest. I'm giving him a D plus overall. I'm giving him a D plus. The first interception I'm not holding against him. Pass was broken up. There was contact at the catch point with Isaiah Bond. I think it was Dalen Everett who picked him off in the first game as well. And Isaiah Bond, the ball popped up. It was basically like bang bang play. Ball popped up. Isaiah Bond just completely forgot that the ball was in the air. He didn't have the ball. He didn't know where the ball was. Dalen Everett then was able to secure. I think it was Dalen Everett was able to secure the interception. So I'm not putting that on him, right? That should have been an easy incompletion, bat the ball down, whatever, right? If your receivers playing with any awareness or just knowledge of the situation and just locating the ball, right? After the ball gets popped up in the air. But it's the rest of the game. The interception he did throw later on in that game that was on him, right? One thing, and I tweeted this out. Quinn Ewers, yes, he has an ankle injury, right? And yes, it hampered him a bit, right? He's not able to step up in the pocket. He's not able to do the things that we typically see, that we typically see a healthy Quinn Ewers do. Now, if you look at the game last week, the game prior to this against Texas A&M that got them into the SEC championship game, I think he started that game out early in that game with like a 21-yard run. So they had like this specialized ankle bracelet, just kind of, on his ankle or whatever, ankle brace on his ankle to kind of stabilize it, still allow him to move and be as fluid as possible. But it's the fact of he's sitting in the pocket and Quinn Ewers is throwing passes flat-footed. He's not stepping in. There's no turn or torque or trusting the turn of his core. None of that, guys. None of that is happening. What Quinn Ewers did was throw from a flat-footed basis, like he's not, shout out to QB school, JC O'Sullivan, I think he used the term dovetails, basically being lined up to your target. His feet aren't lined to where he's trying to throw a lot of times. So that essentially almost kind of fading away, right? And on this throw, on this interception, he threw it flat-footed. I'm telling you guys, listen, there's no velocity. There's no power. It took forever to get there, and it goes right to the corner. And I'm just like, yeah, that's tough. So for me, it's definitely a D plus. Also, yes, we criticized him in the first matchup when he was healthy, and it was, he was healthier, and it was a situation of, hey man, he's not stepping up in the pocket. He's out leveraging his tackles. He's setting so deep, and he's just standing there flat-footed in cement and just trusting it all, right? Just throwing all caution to the wind and trusting it. Well, what happened? Right, in this game, he stepped up. Yeah, kudos to you for moving up in the pocket. The problem was he stepped into sacks. He stepped into the pressure. That's when you want to get out. You want to move, but get there again. Him not being like, his mobility is average, and I think for him, going to the NFL draft doesn't do you any favors. You need to go somewhere else. Next year, you're not going to be welcome back to Texas, or you shouldn't be. That should be Arch Manning's job. You need to go ahead and look at one of these other landing spots and go somewhere else, man. Whether you go to Ohio State and you're trying to, as you're a senior, or whatever, redshirt senior, whatever you want to call it, you go out there and you trying to throw to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate and those guys that they have in Ohio State. You just got to figure it out at the end of the day. But I just truly believe, maybe you go link up with Lincoln Riley over at USC. My main thing is this. I have him right now as a 4th round prospect. The arm talent is average. The athleticism or mobility, it's functional but average. But right now, when I look at Quinn Ewers, there's just a little. He has above average arm. I'll say that, an above average arm. So, what is the true difference between Quinn Ewers and Aiden O'Connell? There isn't one. Like, truthfully, I think Quinn has a stronger arm, just a little bit, but it's not by much, man. Like, we're really stretching it thin there. So he gets a D+. Carson Beck in that game, Carson Beck got hurt, and even before getting hurt, he was 7 of 13, 56 yards, average 4.3 yards per attempt. I mean, it wasn't great for Carson either, right? It wasn't great. So Carson, for me in this game, prior to getting hurt, we didn't see him get into a rhythm and heat up. Yeah, he gets a D. He gets a D from me, man. Like, it just multiple drives. Texas had, that's why my biggest, and I've said this on this pod, they have way too many weapons, way too much talent. Texas had a chance, and I tweeted this out, to take a stronghold on this game, and Quinn Ewers consistently got into the red zone and did nothing with it. Right? Did nothing with it. Momentum, nothing with it, man. So for me, I those two guys, D and D+. But I'm going to tell you, we're going to flip down to the game that I really enjoy watching, that Penn State Oregon game. Yes, Dylan Gabriel balled out, man. He was 22 of 32, 283 yards passing, 4 passing touchdowns. And I'm just being honest here, guys. Like, Dylan Gabriel played such a good game, man. Like, he played such a good game. The ability for Dylan Gabriel to use his legs, he completed almost 69, roughly close to 69% of his passes, 4 total touchdowns on the day. He point guarded the situation, and I think when you see Bryce Young and the success he's starting to have, the success we've seen from Kyler Murray and some other shorter quarterbacks throughout the history of the game, I think there's a chance that we see a Dylan Gabriel getting more love from NFL circles. Now, his arm talent to me is average, right? Like I said, Scout told me it was less than Tua Tagovailoa's arm, so that is concerning. So that's why I have trouble dealing with him as a prospect. But I think he's a day 3 type of guy that, hey, at the end of the day, can he beat Brock Purdy? I think he can, to be completely honest with you. I think you put him in the perfect situation. Dylan Gabriel can give you the same things that Brock Purdy was able to do. I give Dylan Gabriel an A-, man. He just, even when Abdul Carter free running, the pressure was there, all of that stuff, man. I got to be honest with you guys. He played so well. He made the right plays, the right decisions, the right moves. Dylan Gabriel arguably was one of the MVPs of that game for Oregon. Right, their offense was humming, and he was the trigger man that really got them going. He was the point guard that settled everybody down and distributed the ball to his weapons, to his playmakers for this draft and for next year's draft with that tight end. So I give him an A-, man. Love what I saw from Dylan Gabriel. Drew Aller, I give Drew Aller a B+, guys. I mean, we knew coming into this game, I was worried how much points they were going to be able to put up. They had 200-yard rushers. Drew Aller even had 5 rushes for 54 yards. He had a rushing touchdown. He had 3 passing touchdowns. He was 20 of 39, 226. Like I said, 3 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And It's just the fact of like he was put into a bad spot with that last interception. But overall, to me, I think that the arm talent, the tools, the throws he was able to make, man, the plays with his legs, even when pressure got to him, like you saw him settle down, use his legs, climb the pocket, hitch, and go and get out and get 5, 10, even 15 yards. I think he proved himself well. And listen, people saw a lot of the tweets from other people in this industry with me that I respect. I saw people saying, man, I think I'm all in on Drew Aller, and I don't know if I want him to go back to school. Lastly, I don't know if this guy comes out, Caleb Klubnik, 24, 41, 262, four passing touchdowns on the day. They had no run game to speak of. Phil Maffa is hampered with a shoulder injury and everything, but listen, Cade Klubnik just balls, man. He balled out in this game for the most part, right? 4 passing touchdowns. He orchestrated the offense well, even without a run game and everything. So got to give love to him. I give him a B. I give him a B plus, actually. I give him a B plus. Cade Klubnik played well enough for them to win. They let SMU back in that game, and that was a issue on its own. But guys, coming up next, man, we are talking about money makers and bag fumblers. We're going to get into that. Who made them some money? Who dropped the bag? That and more coming up next. Time is our most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend it wisely to improve yourself? Simple. Our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free, that's right, 40 F-R-E-E free online courses, including Constitution 101, the meaning and history of the Constitution, Introduction to Free Market Economics, the rise and fall of the Roman Republic. All of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced, so you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or you can simply just enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. Hillsdale.edu/lockedon. Today's episode is sponsored by Prize Picks. If you love watching the game, you're going to love Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Whether it's football, basketball, or any of your favorite sports, Prize Picks makes your holidays bigger and brighter. But here's why you really need to check it out. You can now win up to 200 times your money on Prize Picks this holiday season. And when your picks hit, Prize Picks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money in as fast as 15 minutes. This week, I'm looking at Travis Kelce to go for more than 70 yards receiving and Lamar Jackson to throw for more than 250 yards passing. It's quick, simple, and so much fun to challenge myself and my friends on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly when you just play $5. So Prize Picks, run your game. Money makers and bag fumblers, guys. Matthew Golden, wide receiver from Texas. Me and Keith had talked about him previously. I think it was last week or so. We talked about him, guys. In this game against Texas, the first matchup against Texas, he led them in receiving yards, 73 yards receiving. This game, 13 targets, 8 catches, 162 yards receiving. And again, I think Quinn Ewers was able to put some passes a little bit out in front of him and stuff like that. They probably win this game because it could have been some walk-in touchdowns rather than like competing contested grabs. But route running, acceleration, deceleration, separation, double moves, right? He was tough, yards after catch. He did a little bit of everything in this game. And they struggled to defend Matthew Golden, especially the deep ball in the first, in the really early portions of that game. Matthew Golden and the deep ball was there between him and Quinn Ewers, being able to connect on some deep passes down the field and down the sideline, man. Being able to run, I think it was like a stop and go and everything. And it's just, this is a guy to me that I know he has 1 year left of eligibility. And I think, if you send him, he goes back. I don't expect Isaiah Bond to, I just don't think he's going to declare. I think he goes back to school as well. And they say, hey, we are playing with an upgraded quarterback in Arch Manning. And if that's the case, then yes, I could see him wanting to go back, bolster the resume, and really help his draft stock for 2026. But I'm going to just say it right now. I think that he could be a day 2 pick at this particular moment. The last couple games for Matthew Golden, he has been playing good football, ladies and gentlemen. He has been playing really good football these last couple weeks, man. And to have the trust in a big time game, right? Like he's gone on, like the last 3 games, he's gone over 70 yards receiving in this last 3 contests. Kentucky 86, Texas A&M 73, Georgia 162. The only problem is they can't get him into. He couldn't find pay dirt, as they say. He couldn't get into the end zone, and he wanted to be able to cap off. He averaged the past 2 weeks, against Texas A&M. And he had 77 in week 8. Sorry, not 73. He had 77 against Georgia. So like he's been playing well, right? And he averages these last 2 games against Georgia 20 yards per catch, against Texas A&M 24 yards per catch. On the season, he's averaging close to 16 yards per catch. He has 8 touchdowns, but they're just scattered. They come in bunches instead of just kind of being game by game. It's 2 here, 1 there, 2 here, 1 there. But he's playing a good ball, and I appreciate everything he's shown. I personally believe I'm going to be higher on him than a lot of other people. And I think with this young man, you can get a day 2. You can get you a player that can come in and be an instant playmaker and impact player for your offense. Now, who else made themselves some money? Who else improved their draft stock? In my honest opinion, man, I got to look at Trevor Etienne. 16 carries, 94 yards, rushing 2 touchdowns, coming back from a rib injury that they say he wasn't completely healed from, but he didn't look hobbled to me at all, guys. Like Trevor Etienne was decisive. He was quick. He was explosive. He was like tough to tackle. Like he just made it difficult for that Texas defense. And I believe in the first game, he gave them trouble. If I remember correctly, I believe he gave them some issues the first go around. And I just want to give him his flowers, man, because yes, 5'9", 205 pounds. Yeah, against Texas, the first time he had 19 carries, 87 yards, average over 4.5 yards per. He had 3 rushing touchdowns. In this game, again, 16, 94, 6 yards per attempt, 2 more rushing touchdowns on the day. And he had this one explosive run that went the distance, that really helped put them out in front and settle things down, so forth and so on. And I just say, hey, in this running back class, can he be the Marshawn Lloyd of this running back class? I think so. I think he can do the same things that Marshawn Lloyd can do. And I think he also could be quicker and more elusive out in space. As a pass catcher, with the ball in his hands, a runner, it doesn't really matter. I think he's just got a little bit more agility and elusiveness in open field. But nonetheless, that's just, again, like Trevor Etienne. Like when you lose your starting quarterback, right, and you bring in a backup, and he had a solid first drive, but he wasn't amazing. He didn't wow me, you know what I mean? Gunnar Stockton, he didn't do much that I was like, yeah, like I feel like Jaden Rashada should still have a shot next year to be the quarterback after Carson Beck goes to the league. And I look at that situation, and I said to myself, man, if there's no Trevor Etienne, I'm sorry, if there's no Trevor, because there is no Travis Etienne at the University of Georgia. If there's no Trevor Etienne, they lose this game. Like, I know they got the Nate Frazier kid, the true freshman, 4 or 5-star recruit. Sounds good. Don't care. Trevor Etienne was the MVP of that game for Georgia. That is the guy we should be talking about. Who else helped themselves out a little bit, guy? I got to talk about Jahdae Barron. He, targeted 3 times, 0 catches, 1 pass breakup, and an interception that should have been a pick 6 that would have helped them and probably won the game for them, potentially. But his teammate was too busy. What was he doing? He was celebrating the interception. Yeah, like that was wild. But Jahdae Barron played a good game, man. He did his thing, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate his game, the versatility, playing outside, playing inside, playing that safety role. He does a lot of different things, and I gotta show him his love and give him his flowers. Now, what goes up, as you guys know, it comes down. It comes down. Jalen Reed. Me and Keith highlighted him on Friday's show, right? No Kevin Warren, the star safety for Penn State. He's been out all season. Jalen Reed, right? The guy who a lot of people like, 6'1", 212. He accounted for I believe it was 4 touchdowns allowed in this game. Yes. And it wasn't just primary one-on-one reps that he lost. He did lose a couple of those too, but it was decision making. I believe it's the tight end Sadiq on the first, I think it was the first touchdown on the wheel route from an H-back alignment. He's dropping. He got put in no man's land, but it's like there was no communication between him and his teammates pre-snap on how we're going to handle this. How are we going to adjust if they throw rub routes and wheel routes and switch releases? Like, who's taking who's going where? Like, just not communicating. And he's a veteran in the secondary. He got beat on that play just from decision making. He decides to take the inside route, squat and sit, and like you can tell he got caught. He knew he was caught in no man's land, right? He got beat one-on-one in the low red by Terrence Ferguson. Solid tight end. I don't believe he's a game changer or anything, but he's a solid tight end overall. And then he got beat for another play where he gets caught in his eyes in the backfield, not paying attention, things of that nature, man. So to me, that was a bag fumbling situation. Your defense, you have a great defensive line, pass rush, all of that. You got to help by making Dylan Gabriel hold the ball so Abdul Carter, Danny Dennis, Sutton can get home. And that secondary couldn't do it, and one of their best veterans couldn't do it either. But guys, coming up next, Coach DP goes into the locker room and hands out his game ball. Hands out the game balls. I think maybe 1 or 2. We'll see. That coming up next. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 back in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch or an urge in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. To get in on the action, just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 back in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Again, you'll get started with $150 back in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Again, to get in on the action, just visit FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. It's time for Coach DP to grab the game balls and hand them out to 2 prospects that absolutely helped lead their team to victory. I'm going back to Penn State versus Oregon, and in that game, Tez Johnson was a man in this game. 12 targets, 11 catches, 181 yards receiving. And Tez was just a problem. His speed, his acceleration. He also had the receiving touchdown. That was kind of on the busted play. That was one of the plays I was talking about that I didn't get a chance to get to with not Kevin Warren, but with Jalen Reed, where he works as a robber. He doesn't tag and pay attention to Tez Johnson. Tez gets over the top, settles into a wide open void in the middle of the field. Then he makes one more defender miss after the catch, and then it's a house call, right? So his speed, his twitch, his route running, his explosiveness, it was all there. And I'm telling you now, guys, I'm not saying he reminds me a lot of Tank Dell, but at one of these all-star games, because I believe he's going to the Senior Bowl, there's a chance he could have a Tank Dell type of aura and moment, right, at the Senior Bowl, where it's just, hey, how do we man cover him? Like, we got to get hands on, but he's so quick, he's so twitchy, he's so explosive, and it's not as easy as people make it seem. But what he was able to do, man, he played so well in this game. They had no answer for him. He made plays in the short, intermediate, and deep down the field. But that athleticism, that twitch is special. That explosiveness. He had one catch where he caught the ball, and when he planted and went upfield, his shoulder square vertically, Yeah, he got to top speed in a hurry. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a 4.3, high 4.4, 5.43 guy, low 4.4s for sure. At worst, this guy's just so explosive. I think the size thing is going to bother some people with him. But again, Tank Dell, Josh Downs, there've been multiple throughout. Calvin Austin, same thing, man. Tutu Atwell has made plays for the Rams, and everything, right? So, and he was more of a raw guy. I think there's more nuance and detailing as a route runner, as a receiver with Tez Johnson than we got with a Tutu Atwell overall. And then lastly, guys, I gotta give my game ball, man, to Cam Scatterboo, baby. The 5'11", 215-pound running back for the Arizona State Sun Devils, who have a bye. They are the third or fourth team in the top four. So they have a bye week. They'll be hosting a playoff game and everything, man. They'll be the home team rather with the bye. He was 16 carries, 170 yards rushing, averaging almost 11 yards per over 10.5 yards per, 2 rushing touchdowns. He also capped on to that with 2 receptions, 38 yards, and a receiving touchdown. And the physicality, the power, the grit, the moxie, let me tell you something, man. Just get ready for it. He's quicker than fast. He's got a lot of grit. He's got a lot of moxie. Yeah. All those like buzzwords that they use for white offensive skill position players. I promise you guys, just get prepared for it. But I love Cam Scatterboo's game. I saw somebody drop the clip of him in high school, and I was like, yeah, I don't even know. Like, he does the same thing he's doing in college. He is so physical, so violent, contact balance, thick lower halves, and like big legs to stay on his feet. Runs through arm tackles, but he wants to stiff arm you into the dirt. This is my kind of running back. I love Cam Scatterboo, man. Cam Scatterboo, I'm sorry. He is a baller, and again, I think day 3, he's not like he's not going to test on the same level as a lot of these other guys, but man, can he just play ball? And that's what you want, right? You need to get him in the right situation. 1,200-yard rusher, man, and then some people might feel like, yeah, he's what Toby Gerhart was supposed to be for us. Maybe. But nonetheless, man, I think, without him, Arizona State, they probably still win this game. But it's nowhere near the amount. Like that game was a blowout, 45-19. And yeah, Cam Scatterboo is just an absolute dude. But guys, that's the show. Coach TP handing out the game balls, man, to Tez Johnson from Oregon and Cam Scatterboo. From Arizona State. We got the money makers and bag fumblers, man. Guys hurt them. Somebody hurt themselves. Other people were down there scrambling up, getting the money, putting it all in the bag and saying, you know what, this bag is mine. And then lastly, graded the quarterback performances as well, guys. Shout out to Dylan Gabriel. I like what I saw from Drew Aller. Cade Klubnik played well enough as well. Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers left me hanging, right, overall. But guys, that's the show. Thank you so much for tapping in with your boy DP. Okay, go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and everyday shot for being our everydays. We got perfect prospect pairing. We got Dames dudes. I'm gonna bring 5 guys to the table and tell you why they actually are my dudes of the week. A little different spin than normal because Keith is not going to be here. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.